Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm a teacher and author, and this is English Nerd. So it is time for another poetry analysis. This time we are going into Shakespeare's Sonnet 12. It's actually one of my favorite sonnets of his. Personally, I tend to prefer his plays to his sonnets, to his poetry. But this one is such a beautiful representation of his mastery of the form, and he does these really fun little tips and little tricks throughout to accomplish his goal that I think are really cool. So without further ado, let's take a look at Shakespeare's Sonnet 12. Okay, so here is Shakespeare's Sonnet 12. It begins this way. We'll just launch right into it. When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night, when I behold the violet past prime, and sable curls all silvered o'er with white, when lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy the herd, and summer's green, all girded up in sheaves, borne on the bier with white and bristly beard, then of thy beauty do I question make. Now there's a reason that I read a whole big swath of this sonnet before really diving in. A couple of reasons. In fact, I'm sure you can probably tell what the main theme of this whole sonnet is going to be. Sonnets typically, especially Shakespearean sonnets, begin with a question or a problem, and then they come up with a solution, or they end with some kind of resolution. Maybe not a solution, but some final thought about the problem. So here, the problem is the passage of time, the inevitable passing from life to death. And we get that in a variety of ways here with the first quatrains, first two in particular. After the second quatrain, there's a turn, so I'll deal with that separately. When I do count the clock that tells the time, one of my favorite aspects of this sonnet is really simple, but it's that first line. The reason that I like it so much is that it emphasizes the iambic pentameter meter, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When I do count the clock that tells the time. In fact, it brings so much emphasis and focus to that meter by using those harsh sounds: count, clock, tell, time. The C and the T noises are much harsher, much more intense in terms of starting and stopping in a very particular place, that what we get sounds like a clock. When I do count the clock that tells the time, it sounds like seconds ticking by even as you're reading this poem, which is just a lovely effect for the beginning here. When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night. The second line has a much less pronounced meter. In fact, he starts to bend the rules a little bit of iambic pentameter. Brave day are pretty equal in terms of emphasis, and so you could almost say they're both accented. So he's taking some liberties here. He's showing us that the brave day, even though it is bright, it is strong, even the brave day sinks in hideous night. When I behold the violet past prime, so he starts with the clock, he sees the day turning into night, he sees flowers going past their prime, they're beautiful one moment, and they pass the next. And sable curls all silvered or with white. This is most likely about a person, right, with dark hair, but now it's shot through with white, so it's a person reaching old age. When lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy the herd. So now we have leafy trees that once were strong and capable of doing these things that now are barren, and the passing of the seasons and things like that. And summer's green all girded up in sheaves, borne on the bier with white and bristly beard. So a more modern audience, especially one that lives in cities, might need some help with this. So this is talking about the final harvest before winter comes. So summer's green is all girded up in sheaves, it's gathered, it's harvested, and borne on the bier with white and bristly beard. So the language here, it is meant to talk about that harvest, but also the words, the the bier, which is related to funerals, the white and bristly beard makes us think of humans as well, growing old and ultimately passing away. So he uses all of these different analogies, and not even really analogies, more examples of time passing, time affecting things, and nothing lasting forever. Instead, passing from, young to old, etc. A couple more things before we go on to the volta, the turn, which intensifies the focus in one direction. Sonnet 12 is Shakespeare's first sonnet that is overtly focused on on the narrator. Before that, it tends to be about about you that he's addressing. There is a you that he addresses later on, but there's more I than usual here. And then secondly, as is typical with sonnets, we get a lot of nature comparisons, nature examples, natural examples that lend itself to this kind of universality. So we have a universal problem, issue, conundrum, and some universal examples to go with it. It's not just rooted in his own particular time in, say 1600. So anyway, here's the volta, here's that turn, which again is typical. Normally you get the first two quatrains, and then starting at the third quatrain, the third set of those 4 lines, there is a shift. Then of thy beauty do I question make. We're not sure in context who he's addressing here. It's very likely the person who was his patron, but it's left nameless. So once again, we can make this universal. Then of thy beauty do I question make, that thou among the wastes of time must go. So this is almost like a logical, it's not a logical proof exactly, but we do get a certain kind of logic with, look at all these examples, nothing can escape the march of time, and so now I'm concerned about you. You cannot be an exception to this if I'm observing everything correctly. Since sweets and beauties do themselves forsake and die as fast as they see others grow. So this is obviously someone very dear to the narrator. If it's Shakespeare's patron, whether it's Shakespeare's patron or more of just a general someone that the narrator loves. So then we get in the final couplet, the final set of rhyming lines, a conclusion. Obviously you can't just say that, well, time doesn't march forward, things don't change. So what can you do in the face of the reality of all that he's spoken about here? He finishes it this way. And nothing 'gainst time's scythe can make defense, save breed, to brave him when he takes thee hence. So we have a stronger, more aggressive kind of look at time here, and our way of defending ourselves against time almost. Time is viewed as someone who is harvesting, much like the harvester up here, harvesting humans and really all things, sweeping everything into his scythe. But a scythe, of course, is a blade as well, so it's, you're trying to make defense against this scythe. So nothing can defend against the scythe of time, now personified, capitalized, personified, save breed, except to have children, which is a typical solution that Shakespeare offers. Among a slew of a few other solutions, he grapples with this problem definitely more than once among his sonnets. Some of the other solutions are to write poetry and to become immortal that way, which is personally one that I prefer because of the meta aspect of it. But here he says, no, nothing can defend against time's scythe, save breed, to brave him when he takes thee hence. So interesting that he uses the word brave twice, 2 different meanings here. To brave him, to kind of survive him, but of course there's the connotation of being brave as well. When he takes thee hence, so you can leave behind you this legacy, this your name, your lineage, all of that, to combat the inevitable march of time. So yeah, a few really cool things that he does in this sonnet. That first line is a favorite of mine, and hopefully you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you're writing a paper about this or something, do your own investigation. Don't only take my ideas. That would be plagiarism, my friend. So just be careful of that. But I hope that you appreciate this sonnet more now than you did at the beginning. Make sure to subscribe for more English nerdy goodness. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.